Welcome to the channel. I'm John, and today we're talking Homelab servers. So today, basically, I'm going to be taking my old server, or my current server, which is a Lenovo m910q tinypc, and taking the hard drive out of it and basically upgrading to this guy, which is an HP 400 G7 bare bones computer that I got off of eBay. It's got no RAM in it, no hard drive, and no processor, but I'm going to be putting in 64 gigs of memory and my current hard drive and an Intel i9-10900 CPU. So it's going to be a little fun project here, pretty quick process. Everything should go pretty smooth, and I really like this this PC here. It's a lot bigger than my current one, but I really like the aesthetics of it. And the biggest benefit I'm going to get out of this computer is basically it takes regular memory, regular DIMMs instead of SO-DIMMs like the tinypc takes. And we'll see you know, how quiet it is and how it runs, but this should be a pretty painless process. So we're gonna get right into it. All right, so this should be a pretty painless process. Again, this is a ThinkCentre Lenovo 910q, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to get things in and out of both this, and should be easy and simple to get things into the HP. So we'll start by taking the cover off, because really we just have to get to this, but this little panel, but this I believe doesn't come off until you take the top panel off. So we'll start with the top panel. And this should slide, yep, slide right off. So yeah, I've got an NVMe drive in here, so I'm not gonna mess with anything up here. Both the memory and the NVMe are on the bottom panel. So this should slide, let's see, there we go, just slides right off. And there's my little NVMe, and it doesn't even take a screw here. It's a quick release. So let's pop this off. There we go. Memory comes right out. So don't have a whole lot. I think this is a, let's see what, I don't even remember if this was a 128 or a 256, but there's the drive. So I'm gonna put this panel back on, button this one back up, and then we'll look at the new case. The new computer, basically. And like I said, I don't necessarily need to upgrade, but it's just fun in general. And you know, I've got quite a bit of services running in Docker on my Homelab server. I've got a separate NAS server. That's why I can have such a tiny app server. And I've got a separate video on building out that NAS. If you want to take a look at it, check out my other videos. And let's just pop the screw back on. The threading is a little messed up on this, but works nonetheless. So we're gonna set this aside. And again, we've got the processor that I'm gonna install, and the memory, and now the storage. So put these aside and get this bigger guy. So I'll show it to you again. Pretty nice looking PC. Again, got it off of eBay. No memory, no hard drive, and no CPU in it. But one interesting thing is it comes with a 210 platinum rated power supply, and you'll see that in a second. So unscrew that. All right. And so here's the power supply. It's rated platinum. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but yeah, rated platinum, and it's very clean inside. So I'm gonna, let's see. So next thing you got to do is pop this faceplate off. We'll do that. It doesn't have any screws. And then you kind of just wiggle this a little bit and it comes right off. And this should flip up. All right, that's most everything. So what I'm gonna start with is just the, let's see, I'll start with the NVMe. I always get those mixed up. And take the screw off. Pop this in. I find Homelab hobby really fun and interesting. All kinds of different things that you can use it for. The most recent thing that I saw a video on when a guy was talking about the different apps that he's using right now. One was a resume app, resume service, and so I'm going to try that out. But I've got other things like a recipe service called Mealy. I've got, again, the whole RStack, Jellyfin, use Saab NZBD, and a bunch of other stuff. So, all right, so now that that's popped in, we'll put the memory in. If I can get them out of the case. All right, let's see which, looks like it goes this way. And the next one, oh, did I? Yep, gotta flip it around. All right, all that's in. Let's take this shroud off. And then also the heatsink. So, second. Oh, looks like right here. Pop that off. All right. So we'll put the processor in. It's upside down from the view. All right, that's in there. Let me just get my thermal paste. And this is MX4 thermal paste that I got off of Amazon. All right. I try to put the excess on there as well, so the cap goes on clean. All right. Probably should have, yeah, got a little bit of paste on the cover there. All right. So I'm always looking for, as I mentioned, other apps to run or services to run on my Homelab. Got plenty of resources to run it on, especially with this upgrade now. This processor, the i9, it's 10th generation. It has 10 cores, 20 threads, and ironically, the 11th gen version has a step down. It has 8 cores and 16 thread. I don't know why they did that. I'm sure there's a bunch of videos on why they did that, why Intel did that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this processor working. And if any of you out there have any interesting apps you want to share that can run in Docker, please share them with me in the comments. All right, so we'll start buttoning this back up. Put the shroud back on. Make sure to connect this power cord. All right, that should be it. So simple. That just snaps back into place. This hooks in at the bottom. Just pop it back up. Then we'll pop the cover on. Again, I really like this this desktop. There's also a ProDesk 600 G6, which is basically identical to this, but it has 4 DIMM slots. Where this one, for whatever reason, they didn't add the slots. They're there where you can bind them to the motherboard, but they just didn't. They're missing. So, all right. So let me show the back real quick also. So this is what the back looks like. Hopefully it's, yeah, there we go. So the Lenovo m910q only had a display port. This one has HDMI and display. So this will be fun to start back up. This will be fun to start up and run my apps off of. All right, so this is pretty much set. Well, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take, more like 10 hours longer. I don't know, could have been 8, I don't know. But essentially when I tried to turn the new Homelab server on, it wouldn't recognize the installation of Windows, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Long story short, the new HP doesn't have a legacy Windows boot option. It only has UEFI, and my NVMe version of Windows boot was legacy. So I had to change it from legacy to UEFI, and you do that by changing the partition from MBR to GPT, and I had a heck of a time doing that, because the only way to do that I could find without ruining your version of Windows, your installation of Windows, is using a tool within the recovery environment. And my version of Windows, for whatever reason, didn't have a recovery environment. So I was trying all kinds of different ways to get it to work. Eventually, I fixed it by reinstalling Windows. That reinstalled my reinstalling Windows over itself without losing my apps or anything or data, and that reinstalled my recovery environment. Boom, able to upgrade, and now it boots fine. So I'm going to show you guys the different Docker containers that I have and the performance monitor real quick, so you can see that up and running. All right, so here's the new Homelab server up and running. Yes, I do run Windows. I'm not running Proxmox or anything, and really I may eventually change that at some point, but it's just too much work for something that's working really well for me. So I just use Docker Desktop in Windows, and I've got tons of things. I'll just go through the list. So Actual Budget to help you with budgeting, Audio Bookshelf, which I use for podcasts and audiobooks, Homepage, which is a really cool kind of aggregator of all of your different services. You can pull up and kind of view stats and things like that via widgets. I've got Image, which is an image management tool, since I've got about 12,000 pictures, family photos, things like that, family photos and videos. Jellyseer, which is a companion tool for Jellyfin. where you can view different suggestions and request different media that way. And a couple other things I may skip over. Some Mealy is kind of cool because you ever had a recipe that you found online and you bookmarked it, and then eventually that site goes down. Mealy is a way to import in recipes, and then now you've got it self-hosted. Navidrome I use for all of my music. NGINX proxy, which is really great, so I could subdomain all of my services. I don't have to go to the IP address or anything like that. And Pi-hole, you may be familiar with. It's a DNS tool, Portainer, to manage these containers through a web browser, and speed tests. And some of these aren't running. You'll notice there's a lack of any of my RStack and Jellyfin. That's because I just have those natively installed. So like LiDAR, radar, Sonar is here, so there it is. Sonar and Jellyfin and Saab NZBD are all natively running within Windows. And so here's just the CPU running the i9-10900, my 64 gigs of RAM, and once I got everything up and running, it's working really well. So yeah. So that's my successful Homelab server upgrade. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please leave a like and subscribe. I'm still starting from the ground up, very new. So I would love some additional subscribers. And if you have any questions about the different containers that I have, or how I set things up, or anything at all, please leave those in the comments as well. And I appreciate it. Thanks all.